everybody, and welcome back to ConFAB, a journey through the world of constructed languages led by somebody entirely unqualified to talk about the subject. My name's Aiden Wood. I am back at you again with a fresh change of clothes to make it look like I'm not recording all these videos on the same day. So a few videos ago I talked about how I was struggling to develop a phonetic inventory due in part to my processing issues with ADHD. One of the lesser known symptoms of ADHD is difficulty processing auditory information. I was trying to develop a phonetic inventory that was large and complex, but didn't contain too many sounds that were really hard to distinguish from one another. And I was also wanting to branch outside of the English phonetic inventory and incorporate sounds that are a little more foreign to me, but I also wanted to be able to pronounce the language. So I was really sort of stuck between those different places and sort of being pulled in those different directions. But I'm pretty sure that I've developed a phonetic inventory now that is satisfying to me, and I'm really excited to share it with you all today. Now I'm going to be using a lot of IPA in this video, so if you aren't familiar with IPA, or you want some videos to help explain it more in depth, I've actually made a playlist which you can check out right here. Okay, so without further ado, here are all the consonant sounds that are going to be in my language. They are ba, da, da, g, pa, ta, cha, ka, ma, na, nya, ra, pra, fa, sa, sha, ha, ha, sha, ya, la. I know I didn't pronounce all of those quite right, but I'm still working on some of them, especially those freaking palatals. They are very tricky. So as you can see, for all of the consonants that I've included that occur in voice-unvoiced pairs, I'm using both of the voicings, but I'm treating them as allophones. The reason for this is that telling these sounds apart is really tricky, but I like the idea of having a lot of variety in my language. One of my favorite things about English is the large phonetic inventory. I think that English is very it's complex, it's musical, it has so many lilts and valleys and so many just variants and variations on the sounds. By pairing voice-unvoiced pairs as allophones, I will remove the need to distinguish them, and so they won't occur in the same place. There won't be any words where oh, if this is voiced or unvoiced, it determines the meaning, you know? And I'm definitely going to keep the allophonic rules pretty simple. I'm thinking right now it'll be these sounds are voiced after stressed syllables and unvoiced after unstressed syllables and at the beginning of words. Easy peasy lemon lemon. As I mentioned in a previous video, I adore allophones, which is why I've included 3 of them, although those also occur in voice-unvoiced pairs, so my total count of allophones is technically up to 6. I do think that sa and ja are a little hard to distinguish, but I'm just going to have to sort of be cognizant of that as I develop my language. I considered only having one of those, but I just love affricate so much, I couldn't resist. I just find those sounds so delightful to my ears. And to my mouth, just saying z is oh, it's a little party in your mouth. There are a few other key features of this system, notably the implosives. They're just so distinctive, that to not include them would be silly, considering I'm trying to have as many sounds that I can easily distinguish, and they're not that hard to produce, once you get the hang of it, and they're also really fucking fun to produce, except for that palatal implosive. I don't even know what's going on with that one. But, speaking of palatals, check out those bad boys! Palatals, for me, were definitely, an acquired taste, but once I sort of got into them, the more I learned about palatals, or the more I tried to produce them, the more I heard them, the more I liked them. And then there are the fricatives. I actually almost considered cutting fricatives entirely out of this language, but thank God I came to my senses, and I actually end up going the opposite direction. I've included a boatload of fricatives. The reason for this is because, one, they're pretty easy to produce, and really easy to produce, actually. They're pretty easy to distinguish as well, and they're pretty common cross-linguistically. I even included the, uvular fricative, the h sound, which I'm not, super good at producing, but I'll get there. I was actually very strongly opposed to having that sound at first, because, I just think it sounds kind of ugly, also it feels kind of ugly to say, it's just sort of harsh on my throat, and to my ears, but then I realized that, not every sound in a language should be, beautiful and flowing and, fun, because not every concept that I'll be conveying, is, beautiful and flowing and fun, you know? I need that variety. I need those sounds that are, gutsier or powerful or dominant or, in your face, and I think that huh sound is very, I know that, there's, those stereotypical elements that people talk about, that we only think that sound is, harsh because of, our associations with like German or Arabic and like our stereotypes about that. But like I even usually think French sounds kind of ugly, and like other languages that have it. And I've always had like issues with that sound, but I mean like I'm sort of starting to see that sound less as like just like a tool in a language and more like a character in a language or in my phonetic inventory. I also considered adding some click consonants, which I've always been so drawn to, but I thought between like all those palatals and the implosives and the bilabial trill, and that like those fricatives, like the alveolar fricative, I felt like I was like giving myself plenty to work with already, and that like adding click consonants in to that would be just like too much, you know, it would be like an overload. But like second language I developed, definitely going to be like heavy with the click consonants, like 10 click consonants, like go crazy. My vowel system is significantly smaller than English because honestly like fuck the English vowel system, but it is still on the large side when you look at it cross-linguistically. I've settled on 7 vowels. They are I, U, E, O, E, A. And I'm pretty sure I said all of those right because vowels are so much easier than consonants, my god. No tones, nasalization, or length variation here, but I am pulling an artifactian and adding some nice boring diphthongs. I'm also going to be pulling an artifactian and utilizing the glottal stop between vowels as a way of distinguishing them from diphthongs, and also just like getting more mileage in general out of my vowel system. Okay, so that is my phonetic inventory. I might make a few small changes going forwards as I work out phonotactics and allophony and all that good stuff, but I think that this is like a solid place to start. If you can offer a critique of this inventory, I would absolutely love to hear your opinions in the comments below, and if you would like to share your an inventory, I would also like love to see that, and also like some information about like your process, like what was your decision-making process like, why did you make the decisions you made, like, because that's something I'm always really interested in hearing. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I wish you the best of luck in your conlanging journey.